Hello, everyone, and welcome to ROKStudios. I'm Stan Miller. I'm PR and Analyst Relations Manager for Rockwell Automation in the EMEA region, and I'm joined today by Steve Mulder. He is Director of Global Industry Sales for OEM Hybrid at Rockwell Automation. Steve, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
So, Steve, today we're here to talk a little bit about building resilience across the machine life cycle. Before we get into the topic, though, could you just give us a little bit about your background and tell us what does OEM hybrid mean exactly?
I'm happy to do that. So, first of all, my background, most of my career was actually as a packaging OEM. So, I was a machine builder for most of my career before I joined Rockwell about 12 years ago. And that fits right into hybrid. So, for us, hybrid are those OEM segments, packaging, converting print and web. So, think tissue machines, diaper machines, things like that. And then light process. And so, that very much aligns to some industries like life sciences and converting or CPG.
Perfect. Steve, let's get into the questions. OEMs are managing increasing complexity across design, build, commissioning, and service. From your perspective, which stage of the machine lifecycle is currently under the most pressure?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot of pressures, but I think the one that's maybe most interesting is the shifting role of OEMs in their customers' day-to-day production success. So, when I was a machine builder, it was very typical that had this very intimate relationship through quoting and winning an order and building and doing the FATs and the SATs and commissioning. But then we trained, we said it did what we said it would do, and it was goodbye. And what we see shifting is our end user customers need their OEMs really much more tied out to their day to day production success. So, whether that's assisting their operators in maintenance, whether it's monitoring and starting to move into the area of predictive performance, um, our end users are starting to realize and starting to shift that they can't do what they used to do at the level they used to do it, and they need their OEMs to kind of change what that relationship looks like. So, to answer your question, the further life cycle, it's a newer space. It's a redefined space for OEMs, and I think it's a very interesting area of opportunity. But it's shifting quickly.
That's really interesting. Steve, we're seeing more discussion around consistent outcomes and faster recovery as key measures of success. How are leading OEMs redefining performance beyond traditional metrics like speed or throughput?
Yeah, it's a great question as well. Um, it's I think what we've seen first of all in terms of the consistency and recovery, we had a shift for a while where, especially in packaging, for instance, we wanted to get more consistent performance, and we put a lot of pressure on trying to take all the variables out of the equation. And so, a big push on the materials coming into the machine had to be under tighter tolerances and more consistent. And the utilities coming into the machine had to be more consistent and have less variability to try to achieve that goal. And now we've seen a shift where OEMs are expected to accommodate the variations. So instead of working those out, now the target is how do you use technology and how do they use their experience and skill sets to say, I can accept this variability in materials. I can accept this variability in other inputs, including operators, right? So I think that's a big thing that's being looked at, and so we're going to start to see more and more metrics like what's the mean time to repair. So it's great to say, hey, my machine will be running this amount of time or available to run. But the bigger question is what happens when it does break, and how quickly can you get me back, and how long between the time I start running to where I'm back to full kind of operational efficiency.
That's interesting, particularly when we talk about downtime and the recovery from. Great point. Steve, there's growing interest in using simulation and virtual environments earlier in the development process. How are OEMs using these approaches today? And how is that changing collaboration between engineering teams and the end users?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I wish we had time to sit down because I could talk for an hour on this particular one. I'm particularly excited about digital twin and these digital design tools. They open up so many opportunities across every phase of what an OEM needs to do, and throughout various parts of our OEM's business. And so, yeah, like I said, I could talk for an hour. I think one of the really interesting things I would go to would be manpower. Again, it's kind of a common theme. How do we make simpler equipment for the people that are trying to run and maintain them today? How do we take variability out of our delivery times and our commissioning times and so on? And I think where twin fits in, one of the areas I'm most excited about. So I'll just take this personally. When I was running an OEM, one of my very valuable resources were my programmers, and they were hard to come by and they were super valuable, and they were almost always mad because they're at the very end of a machine or an equipment build process. So any delay you get lands on their shoulders. They're the folks that are working 14-hour days and weekends to try to squeeze in and still meet that delivery time. And so when we get into digital twin and you say, hey, wait a minute, as soon as the mechanical design is done, you can start writing your code, you can start testing your code, you can start putting the machine through safety and recovery and a bunch of other things that normally you had to wait till the very end to do, they get really excited. And so you see this add-on benefit where you could say, hey, we can maybe shrink our lead times, we can be more consistent with our delivery, but then you also see, hey, there's this really precious resource of ours that all of a sudden are a little happier and a little less, maybe wanting to leave and so on and so forth.
It's a great example. We've been talking with OEMs recently and the innovative uses of digital twin, and then how you've connected it back to kind of a workforce enablement and support aspect, even from a talent retention perspective, is really
Yeah.
interesting. So, Steve, some OEMs are dealing with fragmented systems and inconsistent data during commissioning. What does being data ready mean in practical terms, and how is it reshaping how machines are deployed and supported?
Yeah, great question. Data ready is kind of near and dear to my heart, and it's interesting being here back in this space, thinking about where we were a decade ago, talking about Industry 4.0, and everybody wanted to talk about it. The question is, what have we done about it so far down the road? And one of the things that we recognized was there's this window in time where equipment is built and commissioned, but the digital transformation at an end user or a manufacturer spans much longer than that. And so it was always difficult to line up. And so if you asked our OEMs, hey, what are you being asked to do for data in delivering data and information? Usually it was we're not being asked to do anything, or we're being asked after the equipment is on site. And so what we said, and one of the challenges was, as our end users said, hey, there's information that I want and I know how to use it, they usually were trying to define all the way from where the first data was created, how it got put into an information model, how it left the equipment, all the way to where it got to whatever application was going to consume it. And that was a huge task. And it slowed things down and generally wound up just not having anything happen. And so we said, let's break that in half. What if we could enable OEMs to inherently build into their equipment the way to efficiently organize data into information models, make that information available in industry standard ways? So through MQTT or OPCUA, so that now when their customer figures out what they want and how they want it, you're not starting from scratch. It's not a multi-week, tens of thousands of dollars exercise. It's straightforward because you've built that platform. So I would say that's the area that we've seen most transformational, and for us, it's not just an OEM message. When we have this conversation with end users, I haven't been in one of those discussions yet where we don't get a lot of head nodding and a lot of people saying, wait a minute, while we're trying to figure this out over here, let's not get further behind over here. Let's start with this. Let's make sure that we're as ready as we can be for the future.
Oh, that's great. Steve, last question for you. There's often pressure to move quickly on digital transformation, but resources and expertise, as you were talking about earlier, resources and expertise can be limited. What are the most common starting points that you see OEMs taking today, and how are they balancing ambition with what's practical?
Yeah. Um, so that's always the challenge. And again, I think it's just like the last question that we were talking about. We see a lot of people not making any progress because it's such a big, complicated topic. And I think where we see OEMs again taking a step back is saying, hey, wait a minute, let's just start with the basics. And so um, let's start with OEE. Let's start with energy use. Let's start with event notification. And if there are tools that can standardize that, if their customer doesn't know exactly what they want, then let's make it easy and build some standard information models so that they're there to be taken advantage of down the road. And so we see kind of across our OEMs, some that are ahead of the curve that are saying, hey, I know how I want to use this, and they're able to sell that value proposition today, which is fantastic. We have OEMs that are doing some neat stuff, starting to build in the basics, and then over time start to learn, hey, I can actually start to see some predictive opportunities here. And we have other OEMs who say, look, my customers just aren't ready, and we're not ready, but here's something we can do today so that when we are, we're not starting from scratch. We have started to build this foundation that we can put future value on top of.
Steve, great insight. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Glad to do it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about industrial automation and digital transformation, visit rockwellautomation.com.